Well, we got the drywall going on today, and I got Larry here from Top's Drywall. How are you doing, Larry?
Top drawer.
Top drawer. I tell you, hey, I see you're playing around with a piece of drywall there that's not the normal thickness, a 1/4 inch. Is that a common product?
No, it's mostly or mainly used for round walls and ceilings and stuff like that.
Now,
So
where
we double it up.
ceiling, is it where you're going to use it here in this particular
on
case?
those little edges there.
That nice round corner there.
Yeah.
Also upstairs I got a challenge because I got a round walled corner that really goes from floor to ceiling.
Exactly.
Now, 1/4 inch drywall, how do you get it to bend?
Well, we wet the back a little bit. Not too much.
Now you wet it down. You mean you
wet
lay
it
it
down
out in a rainstorm, or you actually?
No, we'll just lay it in the house on the floor and put some water on it, and put 2 pieces together and let them sit for maybe 20 minutes or so, and then.
And that makes it very pliable.
Yeah,
hey, that's a neat trick. I like that one. Now also the beading. Now the sheetrock people have made the new bead available for this particular product or this project, and it's called Beadaflex, which I can see why they call it Beadaflex, because it actually you can take it to whatever angle the corner may be, and also inside and or outside, and flexible it is. But it also comes in a roll as well, with a very wide bead on it. I guess.
Well, because we got so many different angles now, there's squares, there's offs, there's everything, so using the regular 90 bead, it just didn't work anymore, so they had to come up with different products, and they do that every day.
All the different accessories, it must be, just keeping up to them all.
Just to look after this.
Well, I'll tell you, CGC Sheetrock have really brought it to me and kept me up to date on the new products that are being used for both the professional installing and as well as the do-it-yourselfer. So, well, I'll tell you, let's see this go on.
Okay. Get Jim up here, and he will put it on for us.
Now, he's got a couple of pieces that were already wetted up and pre-cut. So it's a matter now of this screwing into place and then going with the beads.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll just roll around the corner now very easily.
Well, I'm going to want to see that corner upstairs done. This is a fairly
small piece,
short radius, you might say, to put in that corner piece. So you put the 2 layers on. 2
layers on, yeah. So we match up to the 1/2 inch all around, everywhere.
That way it keeps it 1/2 inch.
Keeps it 1/2 inch all the way around.
Deal. Now let's go up to the challenging job.
Right.
Now here's a real drywaller's nightmare. Look at this beautiful round corner. Well, I wanted it there because I wanted it to mold nicely into the computer room. So let's see how this 1/4 inch board goes on. I'm not even going to give you a hand with that because that looks a little fragile to me. Nice and damp. They'll screw the one side on first. And now for the bending. Oh, wow, does that ever look nice? That looks just like I thought it would. Now all we have to do now is cut out the box and then put the second layer on. It's just that easy. Now we're ready to add some of the components to the home that really is going to add that energy efficiency. And one of those items is windows. And windows are really important because the glass panel really doesn't give you any insulation at all, especially in the old windows back in the late 20s. Single pane glass, really no insulation value at all, and single hung, that way at least opening and closing, well, there isn't a heck of a lot of heat being saved or conserved inside the home. In those days we really didn't have to worry about a lot of it. Just throw another log on the fire. But look at here, the sash balances with the old sash cord running over the pulley to the inside between the stud and the frame of the window, the old sash weights. And I'll tell you, these weights, they got cold. And you couldn't really put any insulation in there because the sash has to move up and down, so therefore the weight has to move up and down. and the air, this goes whew, right outside to the wild blue yonder. A lot of cost. Now, what we've done here in this case, we're going to put a window in that's a little wider because the code's going to allow us to do so in this case, and it's going to make this bedroom nice and bright. And there's 20 windows in the home, so we want to, well, give as much efficiency as possible. So this is what we've chose, and that's a PVC vinyl window with the mutton bars. As you can see, the mutton bars match the mutton bars on the existing window. Now, in this particular case here, this window is painted on the outside. Has never been painted on the inside. Somebody's been really taking coffee breaks too often. So over that number of years, no paint whatsoever. So in this case, no painting is going to be required because it's vinyl. Now we've got the same type of window. We got the 1/3, 2/3 with the sash that's going to move up and down, and it's all balanced because that way there's sash balances within the actual frame itself, and certainly no reason to have any weights involved in opening and closing the sash. Have complete with screens, but the interesting thing is the glass. The glass here is smart glass, and smart glass is R 4.17 R value, which is, well, 500 times better possibly than what you've got here in the old window frames. But also, we want to keep the historic value of the look of the window, so we put a wood inside liner. So therefore, when the window's installed, we get a beautiful, clear, fur inside liner that's going to finish up just like the old windows were back in, well, when this home was built. But outside, the PVC vinyl won't require any painting whatsoever. The mutton bars are now in between the glass panel, therefore cleaning the windows won't be any effort at all, whereas this here you're cleaning, actually in this case, 6 pieces of glass, 7 with the bottom one, and this here would be only 2 panes of glass because the mutton bars are all inside. So the efficiency factor goes way up. The beauty goes way up, and the way we're going to install them, we're going to actually put a 2x6 on the inside of the stud wall, which will project out, and we'll explain that once we get outside. But I better go and get Rick, and he's going to give me a hand, and we're going to whip this old one out and get ready to put the new one in.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Here it comes, Dave. One.
I got it. Okay, Rick.
Yep.
Let's put the window in. Better shape?
Yeah.
All right. That looks great. Now all we have to do from now is get the rest of the windows in, and I think it's going to look really great. Well, we were looking for a heritage siding. We got a heritage siding. What a beautiful looking product. And to talk about it, I've got Blake here from James Hardie Products. How you doing, Blake?
Good, Joe. Great to be here.
Hey, now I tell you, this is something else, something that I'm not used to in the James Hardie. This looks as though it's been stained.
This is our newest product. It's a Hardie stain, or Color Plus, part of our Color Plus system.
But there's 2 colors there. There's actually 2-tone.
Yes, it's done in a base coat. A lighter color is a base coat, and then a transparent glaze coat over top. Give you a 10-year warranty on this substrate and a 50-year on the product.
50 years. You mean to say that's going to last as long as this home is right now? My goodness, I tell you, it's incredible. Now, when you talk about James Hardie, I'm used to the James Hardie that we have here on the display board, solid colors. But now you have the stained, the Hardie stained colors.
Exactly. Pre-stained, we can offer about 60 colors in a solid form. Now we'll have 4 more in our semi-transparent look, which will give you that cottage or vacation home look. In this case, it's giving us a heritage look.
Now, I see here on the sample board we've got the stucco, and we've got the Sierra, which is really like the channel wall, and then we have some of the colonial rough sawn. So there's quite a variety of this Hardie product, being flat panels or, in this case, the double siding look. Being a fiber board or a fiber cement, what is it, cement and wood?
It's a combination of about 90% silica sand, Portland cement, 10% wood fiber, mixed with water into a slurry. placed on a mat. It's cut into either the panel form or a plank form. The versatility is unsurpassed in the market. There's a number of exposures, all the way from a 5-inch exposure right up to a 10 3/4-inch exposure. In the panel products, we make a 4x8, 4x9, and 4x10 panel. So it gives any designer as an architect a great opportunity.
Now, what about tooling, using machinery, cutting it and nailing it? What's required there?
It's easy. It cuts like wood. It nails like wood. There's a couple of nails here we can use. This is a hot dip galvanized roofing nail.
So that's used for putting the siding on?
We need a fairly large head, but as you see on the wall, as you go up the wall, it's the nail heads are hidden by the next
Now this hot dipped galvanized nail, is that used for putting the trim pieces on then, is it?
That's correct.
Now trim, that's something else. This is the trim here that I'm used of, the original 7/16 thickness, and I see you got something new here.
Right, this is our newest trim. This will be available in a 3/4 and 1-inch thickness.
So therefore this putting it around windows like we are here and coming up and butting to it and then caulking around the windows.
Exactly, because as we apply the plank to the siding of the side of the trim, we've got a 5/8 exposure overlap, and we need to be a little proud of that side.
Excellent. Now, hardy is one thing, and hardy plank is something else. When it comes to the exposure that we're giving here, just a little over 5 inches, what is the variety? I guess really it all depends on the amount you overlap.
Again, we can offer from a 4-inch exposure up to a 10 3/4-inch exposure.
And around the windows and on the outside corners of the building, we've actually furred it out with some 3/8 strapping in order to give it the depth of field, so therefore when we come up to it with the siding, it gives a nice depth line.
Definitely.
Great. Now, I guess really the fellows are going to continue on here getting the garage wall done, and then we're going to get on to the home, and from that point we'll see the finished product, especially when we get up to the soffits and see how the soffits are tied in.
Exactly.
Because we got some corner brackets to put into this building here as well.
We do. We're going to install those after or before the
We're going to put those on after the fact.
After?
So,
okay.
Great. So let's let these fellows get on with it, and well, we'll see the finished product.
That's great.
All right. What do you think? Doesn't that James Hardie siding look great on there? You'd think that that was put on back in 1929 when this old farm home was built. And Blake, I think it looks absolutely great in this color. Tell us a recap on this.
Does look great, Shell. This is our semi-transparent stain developed by Weiss Coatings, who's our pre-stainer. We've got 4 colors in this semi-transparent look. We've got another 60 available in solid. This product, again, has a 50-year warranty on the substrate, has 10 years on this particular coating. On the solid colors, we offer up to 25 years warranty on the coatings.
Wow, and maintenance friendly it is. Well, I think good, better, best, it's certainly one of the best, and I know that James Hardie, along with your project and helping us out with this one here, it's made it just that easy. Thanks very much, Blake. I really appreciate the Hardie story.
Thank you, Shell.
You bet. Well, you might wonder, why would we be worrying about flooring in a house at this particular stage? Well, it's very important to be concerned about it because, well, we want to save this old fir floor. And to talk about it, I have Doug Sandover from the Wood Floor Refinishing Company.
How you doing, Shell?
I love that name, Sandover. Obviously, that's tying quite nicely into the wood flooring business. Tell us, Doug, this old farm home has got some very unique flooring in it. It's fir, but you found a few things that have to be repaired.
Yes. Then it looks like at one point in time they had put an addition on this room. So as you can see, there's a straight line that runs across the floor.
Very likely this has been one room, and that's been possibly an even outside porch that they closed in at one time.
Exactly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to remove the flooring and we're going to reuse it. So we're going to be able to keep the wood that was originally in the house.
Oh, isn't that great for obviously continuity in the texture and the color?
That's right.
Now I see you've run a saw cut over next to the wall here. Why did you do that?
The reason I did that was because this flooring here runs right underneath the wall. So once the drywall would be on, you have a heck of a time pulling up this flooring. So I've cut it off so that when the drywall's on, it will cover up there and you'll never even know it was done.
That way when the base goes on, you'll never see it after the trim, or in this case the kitchen cabinets go in.
That's right.
So you're actually going to use some of the old flooring, which I have a piece of here. And you know, it's quite interesting. It doesn't look like much, believe me, does it? On the backside it certainly looks fairly, well, new and certainly original. But this is quite interesting. I wanted to point this out. The old flooring nail, how rusty it is.
That moisture problem.
And the moisture problem being that this home, when we lifted it off the old original foundation, it wasn't a foundation. It was actually 4 great big old fir logs. So there was moisture coming up. And I guess that's why they had the tar paper, isn't it?
Yep, they put the tar paper down to stop any moisture that would seep through the subfloor and into the wood.
And the nails being through the tar paper obviously show the rust.
Exactly.
Now also here in this home, that we've got a couple of areas where we did pull some walls out. One is in the front foyer.
Yep.
That what are you going to do there?
That one there, we're going to have to put in a feature strip because the boards don't line up. So we're gonna make it stand out and make it look like it was supposed to be.
So where I tore out that old wall, now the flooring was well, this doesn't match up, as you were saying, and we couldn't really help that because obviously the floor was placed in the rooms at that time.
It's either pull up the rest of the floors or put in something to make it look nice.
Oh gosh, we want to have it this is a beautiful floor. And also in the front of the fireplace where we're going to have a nice accent area you're going to put in there?
Yes.
Back in the bedroom where I moved a wall over a couple of feet, in fact you can even see where the old wiring come up through the floor. What are you going to do there?
I'm going to have to fill it in, and by the time it's done it'll look like it was always in.
So you won't have any problem matching up because they obviously will stagger in there quite nicely.
Yes, they will, and I'll be able to get recycled wood that'll match the flooring in this house exactly.
Recycled, huh? Where are you going to get that sort of thing?
From homes that they tear down, they come in and they pull out the flooring for jobs just like this.
Isn't that great? Well, I can't wait, Doug, to see this floor finished, because what an accent it's going to be coming into the front foyer, into the dining area, into the kitchen. To think the old original floor within this home on the main floor is going to remain. Absolutely great.
And it'll come up looking beautiful.
Thank you very much for coming out, and I'm looking forward to working with you through the project, and we're going to be keeping an eye how things are going, and especially when you get it by with the sanding.
Super.
You bet. Well, Leslie's painting away the trim, but you know, folks, this was a real dilemma here. I didn't want to bring the siding right down to the grade because it just wasn't going to look like that farmhouse look that I wanted. So I came up with something really terrific. And here it is, folks, El Dorado River Rock. Doesn't that give that River Rock look in the foundation? And that's what I wanted, that separation between that of the James Hardy siding above. And with me to talk about it is Al Monroe of El Dorado. How are you doing there, Al?
Just great, Shal.
This is a wonderful product. And tell me about how is it made?
Shal, this is actually made from real rock that's been ground up, mixed with Portland cement, a haydate material, and your colorant. And
so it's the real McCoy then?
It's the real McCoy, it sure is.
This is a matter that man made it, but man made it so it's easy to install.
That's right, and it comes out of molds, and I'll tell you, with those molds, you can have 1,000 pieces and be lucky to find 2 alike.
Now, that's quite interesting because this is river rock and it really has the colors. How do they get the colors?
The colors is from the, I guess it's really from the areas of the different countries.
So they just match the different colors by means of stains or
no, it's
clothing?
actually it's a powder that goes in just as you would if you wanted to color your grout lines. It's the same powder that's used to make this.
So therefore it goes into the mold and it has coloring in the molds to give you that different color shades on the face.
They actually have 3 processes for putting the coloring in. One, it's shot in. Number 2, it's mixed in. And number 3, it's actually painted on.
Okay.
So depending on the design is how they would do it.
I can see now how they get the colors to match, because here on the wall you can see there's browns and there's reds and there's different colors of gray that really give that washed out, that faded look or bleached look that you get along an old riverbank.
Exactly. Trying to keep the rocks looking exactly like you would if you took them right out of the ground.
Now what about other colors? What about other designs? What about other types of stone?
There's over 50 different patterns that are available, and I can show you one if you've got a second, Shal. Here's one of our newer ones called
I see.
China Mountain.
Isn't
It's
that
a ledge stone.
And how many different ones you got?
Over 50.
Over 50.
Yes, that's
So
right.
there's quite a variety. You can have it with open mortar or closed mortar.
That's right,
Now,
exactly.
what I'd like to explain is how we prepared the foundation, the ICF system. The ICF system, which is the insulated concrete form. Now, with the insulated concrete form, we furred it out with 5/8 treated plywood, over top of which we put 5/8 treated plywood for the backing for the stone, right down to the grade level. And then over top of that, we put a 60-minute tar paper, and then along came Frank, your installer, and put the wire mesh. Now, where from there?
Well, from there, first of all, with your wire mesh, you put it on two ways. One with staples, as Frank has done here. Another way is with a galvanized roofing nail.
So a do-it-yourselfer could use that?
Do-it-yourselfer. That's the idea that even ladies do it, believe it or not, nowadays.
Well, I'll tell you, it's light enough for them to work with, and being creative as they are, I can see them having a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, exactly. But once you've got the metal lath on, then you do the scratch coat, which is your first layer of your mortar. And you can get your mortar either a mix with a mixing machine. We have formulas for that, or you buy it by the bag. Okay.
So it's all ready to go.
All ready to go. Add water, and you're done.
Wow.
Okay.
That sounds really easy. Now, I noticed when Frank was putting it on, he was spreading the mortar over top of the wire mesh, and then he was over top of that putting another coat once he had that set up for a bit, and then he went about putting his stones into place. Explain that process.
That's right. Well, a lot of people will actually put the mortar right on the back of the stone after they've had their scratch coat on.
Just like buttering bread.
Putting that in place based on the plan that they want to have to finish that wall alike.
Right.
So you don't get all little stones in one spot and all big ones in another spot. You spread them out and get a pattern going.
Oh, so you just kind of lay them out on the ground to make sure you get your spacings and the placement of the different stones?
Exactly.
That sounds easy.
Well, that's part of it.
Now, when the stone was put in place, I noticed Frank, he would wiggle it into place and then shove it up towards the next stone, giving it that blossom of mortar.
Yeah, right, and that's called actually almost like a grout line in there. Then he'll use a striking tool and level off that grout to make it the finished look as you see here.
Right.
Okay, and then when he's done that, then he'll come along with a whisk or a brush, or like a broom,
right,
and then sweep it totally clean, and basically he's done.
Just that easy.
Just that easy. And also, some people actually will use a cleaner on the bottom,
right,
or a
sealer.
A sealer. That's right. And you'd only use that where right at ground level where it could splash onto.
Or if they're cleaning decks or whatever,
or
not staining it.
If it's a fireplace inside, if you're worried about smoke
right,
marking it up, you could use a sealer there. But otherwise, you don't need it. You are actually all done at this level.
Well, I can tell you, Al, I really like it, and it just, as I say, it gives me that river rock look of giving that look of sitting back on a piece of farmland with the foundation being the accent to the entire home.
And because it's so lightweight, you can actually go up to 25 feet without any footing or a brick ledge or anything on it.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Al. I really appreciate, because I think really El Dorado has put it in stone.
Thank you kindly.
You bet. Well, folks, I'll tell you, the landscaping out there doesn't look all that great now. It's a construction site, but you know, we got to talk about it sooner or later, and I thought today would be the day to do it and talk to Sean here from Images Landscaping. How you doing, Sean?
Good, Shell. How are you doing?
I tell you, well, I'm really happy to see the plan, because when you see a plan and try to get it totally into your mind as to what you're doing here, let's just go out here and take a peek here. Now, I see here in the corner that you've got a nice, almost kidney-shaped bed of plants in here, including a fairly large tree in the center.
Absolutely. The idea there is to just to bring some dimension to the whole overall area.
Great.
So when you're back in your lawn area here, you're not totally right out on the road.
No, so you got a nice tie-in as far as the image of the greenery to the gardening.
Absolutely.
Now,
yes.
I see you also got the picket fence for that old farmhouse look.
We can't go away. We can't not do it without the picket fence. We have to have that. It is an old farmhouse, and the good neighbor fence is definitely.
Now you got the hedge in behind as well. The cedar hedge.
The cedar hedge, cedar hedge, a little privacy again. Add a little dimension to the landscape.
Now up here at the front where the meandering walkway comes in at the front of the house, up in this area here. So we're going to have a meandering walkway coming out of here, And then up in this corner here, you've got an interesting little bed. Is there going to be a lot of color in there?
There's going to be a lot of color. We're going to have a lot of azalea, rhododendron. Definitely try to get some annuals.
So we kind of get a color all season long.
All season long, that's right.
Great.
That's
now
right.
over here, by the water feature, that around the pond, you're going to give it that more of that, again, that water feature pondy look.
Yes, the idea there, maybe some nice taller grasses kind of blowing in the wind, but we want to keep anything evergreen. We want to kind of keep it dwarf, kind of low to the ground, so it doesn't take away from the pond.
Right, right. And up here, where there's a definite elevation change, where we have the upper level to the lower level coming into the grade of the house, you're going to put an Allen block retaining wall in?
Absolutely. Nice feature for any yard, especially when you're dealing with two different elevations. A small Allen block wall in this case, 2 feet high.
And tying all the greenery of the grass is going to look great because we got the irrigation system in, we got the pond water feature in. I can't wait to see how this all comes together.
I can't wait either. I think it's going to look fabulous.
Oh, great. Well, we're not putting screen on the walls, folks, to keep the bugs out. We're actually preparing for a wall bar insulation system because this room on the opposite side is going to be a sound room, an entertainment room. We don't want that sound going upstairs. So we have to now put a backup board with the drywall. That way we can put the sheetrock board on. And I've got Larry here from Tops Drywall getting everything into place today. That way we can have the backing in behind. So once the drywall is in place, then the pressure of the insulation back behind can be put in, and we'll get at that very shortly. Now that we got the drywall on the opposite side and we got the mesh all ready for the wall bar system, we're ready to blow it in. And with me today to talk about the wall bar system, I've got Mike from Cancel. How you doing, Mike?
Very good, very good. Thanks,
now,
Joe.
this particular home, we're wanting to put as much soundproofing into this particular room as possible because it's going to be the entertainment room.
Exactly.
So we've done the walls and ceiling. Tell us about this wall bar.
Well, what we're putting in today is essentially a wall bar and weather shield system. The weather shield is actually a cellulose-style product, which means it's a paper product, actually taken from the landfills. It's a recycled paper product that is actually fiberized, which means it's actually blasted apart with high-pressure air, and then it is impregnated with borates. And borates is a chemical which is actually two chemicals. It's boric acid, and borates. And what that is basically the same type of product that you would find in, let's say, cosmetics, soaps are found around the house, that sort of a thing.
Is there an adhesive as well? Because obviously it hangs very well.
Exactly. Well, in the wall bar system, because it has to stand up in the walls, there's a foam adhesive that is as well in the product. And what that does is it causes the product to actually settle into the wall and stay in an upright vertical position.
Well, the nice thing about it, I find that you blow it and it goes in around all the wire conduit, any of the cavity wall piping, and certainly silences water within the walls running through plastic or metal pipe.
Most definitely, and that's why people go with the wall bar system in this case, in a theater room especially, because what you want to do is you want to keep the amount of airflow through the wall to an absolute minimum. And our product, being that it is a paper product, it's actually a very round product, so it settles onto itself really nicely, which means that there is actually no air transmission through the wall.
Now,
and
this fibrous material here, that's the actual mesh or the screen.
That's right, yeah. What it is, it's a close mesh product, and the nice thing about this product is that it has an elasticity to it. So when our product is actually blown in, because it's blown in with air, the air escapes through the fiber mesh, leaving just our product. As you can see, it actually bulges the wall out, and what will end up happening afterwards is that we'll go with a roller and roll the product flat.
So that rolls it flat so there's no bulging in the drywall.
Exactly, that's right. And the nice thing is that because we roll it flat, we make sure that the product is actually seated in the wall, and there is no gaps, cracks, or settling, so there's no place for the sound to actually escape.
Mike, what about our value?
Well, the nice thing about our product is actually it's a system for the whole house. Our product has an R value of 3.84 per square inch, and you can actually have it installed in all of your perimeter walls. In this day and age, everybody's looking to try and make their house a little more cost-effective, save some cost on energy bills. Oh, like. Most definitely, most definitely. And our product actually is one of the best ways to actually keep your hydro bills as low as you want.
And also your gas bills as well.
Exactly.
So anything to do with energy savings, but the idea is you can use it for inside walls, outside walls, soundproofing. It's a full insulation blanket for the entire house.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
And what about price?
It's a little bit more expensive than the standard. You're looking probably about 25% more expensive, but if you're going to be enjoying your house for a number of years, I mean the amount of return that you're going to get on it is infinite.
So your payback is going to be over
the course of probably about 4 to 5 years, and then from then on in, it's all savings in your pocket.
Great. Now, that's the idea of making an entertainment room or a sound room, or using this on inside walls, for example, around bathrooms for privacy.
Oh, most definitely.
And especially here in the ceiling, to give that, stopping that transmission of sound to the upstairs, giving that acoustic real save, or at least that protection.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. The biggest thing, like I say, is especially on the opposite side of this wall, if you decide to make that into a sewing room or a spare bedroom, the nice thing is that people can come in, they can enjoy themselves, watch a movie, and the people in the other room won't have to hear any of it.
Great. Well, Mike, thank you very much for giving us the whole story on
pleasure.
Well, Weather Shield and wall bar.
Exactly.
You bet. Privacy screens are something today that we use a lot of around decks, up against walls, giving that privacy into backyards. Well, here's one here that's by the Harland design people that is a lattice in a completely sophisticated frame membrane. In fact, look at the membrane here. It's great. We'll talk about that. But look at this very creative design here. It's a piece of art. And I'm going to talk with Lynn here from Harland Designs. How are we doing, Lynn?
Hi, Shell. Doing fine.
Boy, this is great. I mean, this is very creative. Not only the lattice, but also the artwork. But first of all, tell me about Harland Designs. What's it all about?
Well, my partner and I spent over a year in the R&D of the extruded frame system, and the corners are heat welded for the best in climate control.
So this is a very unique to Harland Designs backyard murals.
Actually, it is.
So you designed it,
yes.
and you've got patents and everything on it. That's great. Now, tell us about the artistic part of it.
Oh, we're excited about that. We use Hardy Panel, and I think you're quite familiar with that.
That's the fiber cement product, where it's 90% cement and 10% wood.
It is the best out there, and we're excited to be able to paint on that. We use the ecologic paints that are environmentally friendly, water-based, and put them on there, and away we go.
Well, to do all this, though, you got to have an artist, and I see you have an artist here working away on a piece of, well, it's a scenery which is absolutely outstanding.
Well, thank you, Shell. This is Riley. She's our main artist, and she takes the lead on many of our projects here and does an awesome job. This one is Mountain Mist that she's working on. They're 3 6-foot panels ready to be framed.
Now, she's using an airbrush with the ecologic paint?
Yeah, she sure is, and just starting to lay in some of the detail, and you'll see her build that up as we go along.
Now, what happens when this is all finished? Because, first of all, the ecologic paint is fairly flat, and to give it that exterior support as far as durability.
Well, we do clear coat it with the urethane, a water-based again, and adding for the best protection for outdoors.
So that gives it a bit of finish.
Absolutely. It's a satin finish, and it gives a nice sheen to the work that's being done. And then, of course, the artist will sign it when she's done.
Now, how many different designs do you have? As being creative, being an artist, I mean, is the sky the limit?
Well, we have about a dozen different designs that are being offered now to retailers in their showrooms, and they can pick and choose from there or custom as required.
You know, you can almost look at that piece of art, and those 3 pieces go together. And I can almost visualize an eagle somewhere in that. Is there going to be something of that nature?
Oh, you just watch a little longer. There'll be one flying in there.
I can hardly wait. I've got a great spot for that.
Well, good. I'd like to see that.
You bet.
Well, I need somebody tall to help me,
I'll help you, Lynn.
Oh, thanks, Shell.
Oh, boy, is this something else? It's gorgeous. Look at that. Oh, and I see that Riley got the eagles in. That's gorgeous. Now, the hardy board, you've also went over top of that with the clear coat.
Yes, we did. It's ready right now for your outdoors.
Now, where you're standing, there's going to be a hot tub. Can you imagine sitting in the hot tub, looking at that beautiful forest scene? It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Now, also, these could be freestanding on a wood deck or on top of any deck, actually.
Absolutely, if we had the slots in with the feet, but for these purposes for you, we've got it right on the
Well,
wall if you
I
want it.
tell you, thank you, Lynn. I hope Harlan does lots of these.
Thank you so much,
bet.
Shel.